For kids with ADHD and autism, managing big emotions can be incredibly hard because their brains process the world differently. So, how can we help with these intense emotions? Calming techniques definitely play a role, but they're just one part of the equation. What's often missing is that kids need to believe that they can handle these upsetting situations, and that belief comes from learning how to problem solve. In this video, I'll show you how calming strategies and problem solving work together to build true emotional resilience, especially for neurodivergent kids who need it the most. Emotional regulation is how we deal with our feelings without letting them overwhelm us. Think of emotions like the weather around us. Sometimes it's sunshine and rainbows, other times it's foggy, and sometimes it's a full-on storm. On sunny days, it's easy to go for a walk outside, but what happens when the clouds start rolling in? What if it starts pouring? For neurodivergent kids, sometimes just a slight drizzle can feel like a downpour. To understand why emotional regulation can be so hard, especially in the moment, we need to look at what's happening in the brain. When a child is overwhelmed, their amygdala, the brain's alarm system, goes off. It hijacks the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that helps them reason and problem solve. Think of it like the brain security guard screaming so loud the CEO can't think straight. This happens faster and more often in kids with ADHD or autism because their nervous systems are more sensitive typically to noise, transitions, or unpredictability. Here's the piece that most emotional regulation plans forget: self-efficacy, the belief that I can handle this. When kids see that their actions actually solve what was upsetting them in the first place, they are much less likely to be as upset when the same situation happens again because they know they have had previous success fixing or alleviating the issue before. Or if they do get upset, they are less likely to be as intensely affected. There are two main powerful ways to teach self-efficacy to kids. First, kids need to see it. That means the adults around them need to model emotional regulation and problem solving out loud. They don't just learn from what we teach and tell them to do, they learn from what they see us actually doing. So especially this is important for kids with autism or ADHD because they may need more explicit examples to internalize this emotional process. Make it a habit to think out loud about everyday problems that happen. For example, you can say, this isn't working the way I planned it. Let me think about my options. Another way, that's frustrating, but I think I can figure it out. What else could I try? Or even something slightly more advanced where you get their opinion. You can say like, I'm stuck on this. Can you help me with this problem? What do you think? Keep it casual and age appropriate. For example, you're making dinner and you realize you don't have an ingredient in the cupboard and you can say out loud, oh no, I don't have the milk for this recipe. Let me see, maybe I can use water or maybe I could just use a different recipe. What do you think I should do? The second way to teach self-efficacy is for having kids experience it through playful real-life activities where they practice coping strategies and making choices that lead to solution. For example, games that naturally teach impulse control, like Simon Says, red light, green light, freeze dance. Building with magnet tiles is a great activity too because they often fall over, so you have a lot of opportunities to model expressing how you feel and then starting over again. For older kids, you can try balancing games like Jenga. They have to be really mindful of their actions and they actually have to problem solve as they start taking the piece out. Will they take it out slow, take it out fast? How are they going to handle it when the tower falls over? You can also make some self-regulation tools together while talking about problem solving. For example, if you can just get a mason jar, put some glitter in there, maybe some glue, then fill it up with warm water, you can shake it, and then while you're watching it settle, that's a really good time to think about some problem solving techniques and some options that they can do whenever something is bothering them. Another option is to make a stress ball with balloon and flour or a balloon and water beads. And while you're squeezing them, you can talk about how squeezing can help release that tight feeling in your body and how that physical relief can help our brains think more clearly. Finally, another very impactful thing you can do with your child or your students is role play. Role play common scenarios that are likely to annoy or frustrate that child. I remember doing this with my child when I got news that he lashed out at another child at camp, and I was shocked. And then I learned why that was happening, and my child was being triggered by another's negative comments. So we went home and I was that other negative child, and I would get close to my son and I would act it out because I wanted him to kind of almost feel like he was back in that situation. So his reaction would be more natural and he could practice his problem solving ability while feeling those emotions. So you can do that as a class. You can just do it one-on-one with your child like I did at that moment. But this is what's really going to help them both cope with things, and when they figure out what to say, what to do, it's going to build their confidence and their ability to work through it. And that's the key, because that is what's going to build emotional resilience. If this video was helpful to you, I invite you to watch the next one about my favorite games for teaching social flexibility to kids.